Hey guys, Simon here and welcome back to another episode. Today we have some pickups to take a look at, so let's get started. Okay, first up we have some PS4 titles, and to start it off we will take a look at Kingdom Come Deliverance. This is a title that released back on February the 13th of 2018. It was developed by Warhorse Studios and is an action RPG that takes place during the Bohemia War of 1403 with a focus on being historically accurate. So far, I've only just touched the surface of this title, and from what I have seen, it's very full on. It's definitely not your typical action RPG, as it can get very involved and is quite time consuming as your character needs to complete normal everyday tasks while playing. For example, you need to eat and sleep to remain healthy, take regular baths so your character doesn't smell, and other townspeople will engage with you in a positive manner, along with learning a whole stack of other abilities and combat skills that will make your adventures through the game much easier. But from what I have played, I've enjoyed. So far, the story is engaging, the combat along with the gameplay is enjoyable, and visually, it looks amazing. However, I need to try and set aside some lengthy gaming sessions, as it's not a game you can just sit down and play in short bursts. I really think you need to sit down for 2, maybe 3 hours at a time, because as mentioned, there's a lot for your character to do and you can get really sidetracked while playing. But it's definitely a game worth checking out if you're a fan of medieval action RPGs. Next up, I've picked up a physical copy of Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. So pretty much all this contains is the original Final Fantasy VIII that has received a HD upgrade to 1080p. You can speed the game up by about 3 times while playing, and overall it's just a much more polished experience for last gen systems. I still can't get my head around that we have to refer to the PS4 and Xbox One as last gen systems now. But anyway, as for Final Fantasy VIII, it was a game that I never finished as a kid. I remember I purchased a copy of the official Australian PlayStation magazine back in late 1998, and it came with a demo disc which had the FF8 demo on it, and I played it over and over again. It was a really good demo, as it was the Dolet beach landing mission, and it would start out as a cutscene with all the ships just jetting across the ocean, and then they would land on the beach and the FMV would smoothly transition into actual gameplay, which I thought was pretty great at the time. And it was a real full-on scene, as I think Squaresoft made the characters a little bit overpowered for the demo with a decent range of spells and summons, so you could really just blast through everything and have fun with it. And it was exactly that. It was just a lot of fun. And about a year later, I had a friend who was getting rid of his PS1, and he gave me a platinum copy of the game that I still have to this day, which I played, but I never finished it. So here I am, 22 years later. I've got the remaster, so I guess it's time for me to get stuck into it. Now we have a copy of Diablo III Eternal Collection. This collection contains the base version of D3 along with Reaper of Souls and the Rise of the Necromancer pack. And I've been holding off buying this collection because I wanted the price just to drop a little more before I snagged up a copy, because I already own Diablo 3 for the PS3 and 4 along with Reaper of Souls. But now I can finally check out the Rise of the Necromancer DLC and maybe even give D3 another playthrough before Diablo 2 Resurrected launches later this year. I cannot wait for that. But a quick question for any of you that are fans of the Diablo series, and that is, what did you think of Diablo 3? As for myself, I'm very divided on the game. It felt like a big departure from what Diablo 1 and 2 brought to the table in terms of character development, storytelling, and graphical design, with my biggest gripes about the game being the story, as I felt it was really underwhelming, along with the graphic design and animation, as it looked very cartoony and it lacked that dark and gritty gothic feel of the first 2 games. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Diablo 3. I think it's a great game in its own right, and I've sank countless hours into it and I've maxed out multiple characters' base levels, but it just felt like it was missing something, and even a little bit disconnected from what made the previous games so good. It's a bit of a tough one for me because I really cherish the Diablo franchise and I'm certainly looking forward to its future, but let me know what you thought of Diablo 3 in the comments below. Onto a PS1 title now, and here we have a copy of Kingsfield. I've been searching for a copy of this for months, so I'm really happy to finally have it. And you know what? I think it is awesome that I'm just as excited to get a PlayStation 1 game now as I was well back over 20 years ago. I just think that's pretty cool to think about. But anyway, Kingsfield is a really early title that was developed by From Software, who are the creators of the Souls franchise, which is interesting because I'm a massive fan of the Souls series of games, so I really want to play through this and see if it had any direct influence over FromSoft's later titles. But at the same time, I really want to hold off from playing this because I have a bit of a tradition that I like to do at Christmas time. And it sounds a little strange, but what I like to do is play early to mid-90s retro FPS titles during the holiday break. Just kick back, drinking some beers, enjoying good food, and getting a hit of 90s video game nostalgia. It's just kind of turned into something I really like to do, and Kingsfield would be a prime contender for that, but I just don't know if I can hold off that long because I really want to get stuck into it because Kingsfield looks great. It really just throws off that early, low-textured, janky 90s vibe, along with that slow style of gameplay that I love about early 3D games because it just really reflects that time period when developers were starting to move away from 2D and get into 3D development. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold off from playing this, but I guess I'll see what happens. And last up is another FromSoft title, and this one is the original Armored Core from 1997. Now, Armored Core is a franchise that I've wanted to try out for a while now. I think all up there's about 23 titles, which includes the spin-off games. I'm not too sure, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments below, but these games look great as the gameplay mainly consists of mech-like combat in a third-person perspective where you take on contracts from corporate clients, duke it out against other mechs to earn money and upgrade your own mech and basically build an unstoppable war machine, which sounds awesome to me, but apart from that, I don't know much else about the Armored Core franchise. Obviously, it must have been successful to some degree, otherwise I don't think FromSoft wouldn't have made as many follow-up games as they did. I don't know. I guess I'll try this out and I'll see where it goes from there, but it should be pretty fun. Well, that is it for today's episode. Let me know in the comments below what you have picked up recently and what have you been playing. As for myself, I just completed another playthrough of Mortal Shell, but this time it was the enhanced edition for the PS5. I really love that game and I hope that the developers follow it up with a sequel. That would be pretty awesome. And I'm also playing through Kingdom Come Deliverance. I just want to dive deeper into that game and really see how it works. But with that said, remember, keep that positivity flowing, and I'll see you next time with more PlayStation content. Thanks, guys.